Welcome to another episode of Espresso with Vinny. Little beach action here, Sardinia, baby. I'm going to start off with a little story. I was taking a flight out to Tucson, right? And my daughter had the big competition out there. She made it first year to regionals and rock climbing. She's like one of these geckos. She just sticks to walls. Anywho, so I get through to the TSA checkout, and I'm wearing a light pair of sweats. And the TSA guy goes, I go into the scanner, I do my stuff. I come out, he goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. He says, look at the screen. The screen shows right on my lunch meat, right? Right on the genitalia. Big red. He says, I got to frisk you down. What do you mean you got to frisk me down? Down there? Because we can go in the private room. I go, no. Especially in this country. Nobody knows what a freaking man or a woman is anymore. So who the heck cares, right? And my dog can tell you what your gender is. One slip to the cross, bam, done. So I said, go ahead. No, do it. Hurry up. So he's like putting one leg forward. He's like, rubbing his hands up in my, in the lunch meat there. And I'm like, well, obviously it's a false positive, sir. I've got nothing on me. And why are you doing it anyway? So when I left, he says, well, the machine said it. Oh, so the fucking machine. Okay. So it said it, right? Good thing it wasn't my mother or my kids, because I would have turned around in a heartbeat. This is how the US government is trying to make our lives miserable. Little by little, it's called intrusive. Get up in your face, and I can do it because I can. And you have no rights. And under acts of, international terrorism and Interpol and security will justify climbing up and feeling your crotch, right? Wrong. Okay? You ever travel to Israel, they have a lot more security than the United States does, even into the White House, and nobody feels your crotch. Those electromagnetic machines can test parts per million of explosive C4, Syntrax, drugs, anything on you, plus like an X-ray. Okay? Besides, they can have a canine to smell, right? Like they do at the White House. So I filed a report to TSA. I told them what they did. And so they tried to justify it and say, well, under unity, equality, we want to make sure that everybody gets frisked, not someone who's just a suspect. Are you freaking shitting me? You're going to crawl up my pants? And they put their hands along your rim. Oh, yeah, like on the edge of the pants there. So I answered them back because they were saying, for best for public. Again, it's free. It's all for your own good that you worship the government, and they know best and they're honest. There's no such thing as lying governments. Ever. No tyranny. So when they told me that it was for the best of public safety, I said, if it was for public safety, you would have closed the freaking border. You would have stopped fentanyl from coming in. Okay? So then I said, if it ever happens again where you want to do that, I'm turning around and walking away, and I'll drive a car, I'll take a private flight. So I'm done with TSA. Okay? I've never been motivated in my life to make some serious coin so I can fly private jets all the time. I'm not dealing with this low-life crap where they think they can do what they want. Then on my way back, sounded off alarm again. They said I had something in my, I intentionally wore like swim trunks. Easy to look at. Okay? Guy says, turn around, it's on your back pocket. I go, yeah, does that look like I have a back pocket? So I still got to pat you down like a white real fast. He says, then let me look at your watch. I'm like, there's my watch. He says, turn it around. There it is, turned around. And they were taking their time through the conveyor belt, trying to make me lose my temper and lose it. Because they've now got signs posted, $250,000 fine if you insult them. If you insult them. Anyway, just want to tell all of you that before we move forward in my podcast, that this country's taking it too far in their days coming, the way they've treated Americans. Anywho, back to all the great Americans and the great dogs like Vinny. Let's get started. All right, interesting client I had this week. She's mute. She can't talk. She had someone call me and say, can I handle that? Where someone would write just script notes. She can write things down, text me, tell me about her case with her dog. She has a Bernie Doodle. She's had other dogs. She says they were all wonderful. And this one's just got an attitude. Okay. So I got to her house and I, was trying to teach her a few things. And she was a little bit on the stubborn side. I said, look, people who second guess me, I don't work with. You either accept or don't. So I started working with her. It went really well. She texts me this morning. She says things were fabulous. The dog is showing affection. It's listening. She says your techniques are brilliant. The dog's not pulling me. She lives down, by an area where there's a boardwalk. So she's loving life again. More of lessons to follow up. So it goes to show you that if I had listened to what all the social media had said and listened to what the veterinarian colleges specifically said, the little trickle down of you better listen to us as government and institutions know best, all these dogs would not be cured. I would have had this client in tears. She already tried all the positive reinforcement and like turn the back and all this crap. She said she raised kids trying that. It failed drastically. The kids are monsters. Long story short is, if you're going to worry so much about what everybody else thinks, regardless of their title, you will always be a prisoner to those other people's thoughts. Okay? The prison door is wide open. You just didn't know it. You can walk right out anytime you want. Okay? And don't tell me I'm a domestic terrorist like the freaking TSA probably has me flagged because I caught their eyes when I was going through. Because yeah, anybody who calls them out on their BS, right? So I can't stand by a punch bowl when I was back in high school because maybe I was a rapist. Or I can't go through a shopping mall with any ladies because maybe I sexually assaulted her in the changing room, right? With no evidence, right? So you want to know why men just turn around and stop dating and gave up. Yeah, it's kind of sad. Anywho, don't trust what other people think. Think on your own. Always use your own critical thinking skills because there's no one else you can rely on more than yourself. Okay? All right, so people go home and they basically shut their garage door. They say that they don't really have time, the friendships, the family, and it's all this kind of isolationist stuff. We're not going to go too deep of why society turned out that way. Well, I think a lot of you, the listeners, and at least my clients, they think a little bit more than the other guy next door. However, when you are that isolated and you don't have the unity of like family, pack, friends, and I'm crossing over the term pack because I'm talking about dogs, you don't have that high energy in the room where the dog feels like there's a unification and everybody's together. You'll notice, at least I always do with my dogs, when a lot of people came over, they got happy, they liked the socialization of feeling like unity and the love of pack and friends and family, and they would start chewing a bone and they were happy and wagging their tail. And dogs enjoy this life. Now, packs, though, also do a lot of things together. They cook together. So let's look at our society today. American society, most people don't know how to cook, even though you can just go on a Food Network and look up a lot of recipes. They don't. Okay, what I'm getting at is unity. When people are like cooking together, they're playing sports together, they're playing card games together, they're going on walks, big group of family going on a walk together. These are things we don't see in the United States a lot anymore, okay? It's really gone dead. And dogs used to see this and feel it more than even see it. And that pack psychology made them feel secure, like they were surrounded with their family, their friends, and people who were going to be there for them and give them attention. Power in numbers is what I'm getting at. So for all these people that are like, flying solo and they've got their dog or their cat or 2, 3, and everything has become I'm busy, and everything's the baby, and they're not doing that where they're all moving into like playing soccer together and they're being aggressive playing competitive sports, or they're all cooking, and even if they're loud and they're yelling and cooking in the kitchen, okay, there's not a spikes of energy. So these dogs have lost their faith in the ownership of people because we're no longer like packs. We're no longer that big family. So we lost the tribal part of us where we're hunter and gatherers. And now the dog is feeling insecure because we haven't taken it even out of ourselves. This is why there's a lot of psychological issues with people out there, as I brought up. And more so with the dogs, they're more sensitive, I think. Anyhow, getting into the tribal aspect of dogs, you have to understand that dogs are looking from one reflection to the other, how they've played throughout the day, who is still strong, who needs to be nurtured, where the jealousy, the competition is. So it gets complex, especially when you get more than 2 dogs. Up to 3 dogs and more, definitely it gets into this pack psychology. So we have to remember that pack means to them security. So try to make more of an effort to have some good friends come over, have some more noise, get the dog acclimated to it. Make sure it's people that are close to you and the dog is right next to you, so the dog is understanding your leadership role, that you're the one that's in control. Don't just abandon the dog and leave the room. Bring them with you. Go on walks and trail hikes together and make it a frequent part of life with them. The most important is that the people have somewhat of an assertive personality. It doesn't always mean aggressive, but like assertiveness and an objection. Like, there's a beginning, there's a middle, and an end. You're accomplishing something. You're not just talking. Dogs will feel this energy and they're going to become much more mentally stable. Because I often think when I look at case studies of dogs that are insecure, anxiety, biting, or whatever it is, working more in behavioral area, I notice that's what a lot of the problem is. It's a lot of people living in isolation. So try to make this habit of getting your dog interacted in a fly ball sport, a tug of war game, do things with your friends. And if your dog has a bit of an attitude, then you need to work with it and get the dog to understand that the pack is good. Because it's like a child spending too much time alone and they never come downstairs and they're always on their computer. It's horrible. You need your dog to also be out interacting and doing things. This is healthy for the animal. Okay, life is good. Remember, keep looking for the truth, preach the truth. People that get in the habit of lying, it becomes something that they have no brakes, and eventually you lose your brakes, you ride off the road and crash. Very important that people go back to integrity in every aspect. Dogs are not good politicians. That's probably why we trust them and love them so much, because they're sincere. And try to learn something from your dogs about just sincerity, directness. You don't like something, you can be on it. No, just kidding. But try to learn from them that they are very direct, and it's a better way of life. Sometimes we get so caught up in what this matrix has been created, we don't know anymore who we are. And I meet a lot of dogs that don't know they're dogs. They come to me and I work with them at a boot camp. They're not even aware they're a dog anymore. They need to just get away from all that bad energy and start learning how to interact with me in a tribal way and with other dogs and become more who they were meant to be. Always remember, God didn't ask your opinion, unsolicited advice, except it's a dog, okay? If people start giving you hell out there, remind them, you do not need to be a biologist to tell them if they're a man or a woman, because the dog's going to be able to sniff their crotch, tell you if it's a man or a woman. You don't need to be a vet to tell me this is a dog and something else is a cat or a bird. And you don't need to have a PhD in English to have an English conversation, okay? Put them in their tracks, put them in their place. God bless you all, guys. For the good of humanity, fight back hard.